Welcome back to day 4 of building the Oasis. Today we're going to see how we did with building out our journal list. So if you recall yesterday, we started the process of getting AI to build out a journal list. The idea here is that we want a way for the NPCs to interact with us, where we can talk to them and it should just feel kind of natural. And so whether we have succeeded in this or not is a huge question. Also, one of the key things here is that we're trying to show that we can build at least something just slightly non-trivial with AI without having to supervise it all the time. And let's dive right into it. So this is where we left it yesterday, and it claims that all of the designs and use cases have been implemented and documented. Oh wait, there's still something that remains, some tests of the ring buffer, validation against all acceptance criteria, and creating formal test case artifacts. That's actually something that it should have done, but since we haven't spent time supervising it, I guess this is what we'll do. Let's check out what it has done. I am super interested in seeing where we are. So will we get sound out? Will we be able to record sound? This is all really, really exciting. So let's get back and have a look here. Just going through all of the tasks, right? So this is the state of the tasks, and we can see it has crossed out all of the tasks inside of our Explorer here. So let's get back to the console here and see what we actually have here. So we have, it's built out a Tori app, and let's do cargo. Tori dev. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there are some warnings, something it certainly haven't dealt with. But, oh, see, it shows up over here. Can I pull it in here? I can't. I need a different desktop. Bear with me for a second. So this is what the app looks like. I mean, it's not beautiful by any standard, but then I guess for now, what we really want is just to get the concept demonstrated. And we haven't given it any design criteria on how this should be looking like, or what this should be looking like. So I guess we could have been using a bit of time doing design documents on the actual UI. That would have been a nice touch. I haven't implemented support for this in the ACE framework yet, so this is something to do later on. But I'm going to grab my headphones here just so I can hear what sounds coming through. And let's say we are doing an building the Oasis using AI. Let's see what happens if we do that. And it has some things we can put here. I'm very curious about this.
Hello, I'm Alex
Oh.
from the Daily Tribune. Today we're talking about building the Oasis using AI.
Whoa.
To kick things off, could you describe what the Oasis project is and how AI plays a key role in it?
Wow, this is super awesome. Right, so we're building out the Oasis, and this is meant as an experiment to see how much we can actually get AI to build autonomously. And I'm really curious if the microphone is going to work here, because that's a pretty hard ask. So
That's really interesting. So when you say you're aiming for the AI to build autonomously, what kinds of tasks are you expecting the AI to handle on its own? Are we talking design, development, or even decision making?
yeah. I mean, this is exactly what we have done right here, right? So we have built out an app that can now talk to us, and it did the designs, it did the tasks. We gave it a little bit of guidance, but this is pretty impressive. I mean, the counter doesn't work, so it should be on question 2 now, I guess. Are we not on question 2 or question 3? I don't know.
We're on question 2. Don't worry. It sounds like the AI is heavily involved in the core processes. Can you talk a bit about the challenges you've faced in letting AI take over that much responsibility? What's been tricky?
Uh, I have no idea what was tricky here. I think, yeah. just trusting that this
Got
was
it.
actually going to work.
No worries. It sounds like you're still discovering what works and what doesn't. Could you share a moment where the AI really surprised you? Either by doing something better than expected or maybe something totally unexpected?
I think that's pretty much where we are now. This is pretty cool. Okay, I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
pretty happy with
So,
this.
from what you're seeing, how do you envision this evolving in the next few months?
Okay, that was pretty cool. I mean, clearly this is not perfect. So it interrupts me while I'm talking, and I don't get so much time to think. But I mean, overall, it does seem to work, and it clearly has a memory of what we talked about because it could recall that it was question two when I asked it whether it was question two or three. And so this is maybe what, an hour, 2 hours of work? I don't know. Well, not even, right? We spent 40 minutes in a live session yesterday. I can't recall, did we also work on this the day before? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. So it's somewhere between an hour and 2 hours of work to get this up running. That's pretty great. I think, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this. This is a good start. Let's see. Let's go ahead and, oh, it's already killed. And just do git init. Oh, shoot, we don't want to do that. The target folder should not go in here. Let's just have a look. There's all our design documents, the experiment, some snapshots. Actually, we don't want this. Oh. Okay, the rest I think we can check in. Let's just do this. So this is one of the really important things. Once you have something working, you should always check it in because in my experience, as easy as it is to get AI to make something work, it's also really easy to get it to break stuff. So, and we don't want that to happen in particular, not when this feels like a huge success. So, okay. I think this is going to be a relatively short video. I was actually expecting having to debug a lot here, but I mean most of the things are working here. And so I think what we're going to do is we're just going to ask it to write the tests and then correct things that are not working as they should. And then get back to it. And then after that, start looking at the things that it should be that we should fix after that. Because really the tests are there to guide it to make sure that it does its best work. And it hasn't even implemented those ones yet. So I think that would probably be the next step. see. Oh, it actually hasn't written out the test cases here. That's probably why it hasn't done that. I'm very curious now. So one of the things that we have in the ACE framework or in the ACE MCP server is the ability for the AI to define tests and do designs before we go into any of the details, right? So you do the design first and you design the tests, and first then are you supposed to actually start the implementation. The idea is if you get the AI to write the tests up front, it has a way to test whether it's done what it should do to reach the acceptance criteria, and hopefully that will lower the burden for you afterwards. But it seems like it hasn't done that because I didn't see any test cases in there. So if we go back to the screen here, you will see that there are no tab over here called tests. And also if we look in the product and the to-do tree, we have over here, you'll see that there are actually no tests listed. We have features, we have use cases, we have requirements, and we have tasks. But the tests are nowhere to be found. And so I'm very curious whether the AI will pick this up and start using the ACE framework for doing tests, or it will just improvise. Most likely it will just improvise, because this is exactly what I've experienced that Claude does all the time. And it's one of the really hard things to get Claude. It's one of the hardest things I've tried is to get Claude to follow a strict workflow. So you have this idea, these very, very strict steps that you want it to follow. And what happens is at some point it just loses focus and it goes off on a tangent. And so you need to bring its attention back to the thing at hand. And I think this is going to happen in this case as well. And this will be one of the reasons why we are either not going to see the singularity right now, or if we are going to see the singularity, the meaning of this is that it will just go ahead and do whatever it wants anyway, with some vague regard to what we're doing, which means that maybe we are not going to see it after all. But yeah, we'll see. No, it seems like it's just going to implement tests at this point. This is good feedback though, right? This means that I need to go back and work some more on the MCP server to make sure that it follows the framework, registers the tests and all of this. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So if we do this, then all it should have done is that it should have planned out the tests and it should have figured that out by itself. And like, see, it hasn't called any of the tools, so it's not going to. No, okay, so it has 53 tests now, and they all pass. No active task. Now it reads the to-dos. So maybe the other problem was that I should have started my message with saying, follow the ACE framework to define the test, right? Because now it creates an artifact for that, but it actually has some specific things. Let's see what it actually does. Yeah, so we have test cases here. So it's doing this the wrong way around, right? We wanted to design the tests first and then implement them, not the other way around. Because in that way, you don't write tests that fits to the code, you write code that fits to the test. So in other words, test-driven development. And this is what we're going for. Clearly, we have a little bit of work to do here on the MCP server. Okay, but that was actually the bug that we reported. Curious, is it done now? Maybe we still have time to test it one more time. Okay, so it's just busy now writing down a whole bunch of things. So it has done 6 test cases, and for these 6, it has probably done a whole lot more. Let's try to go back to the feature, have a look at the to-do tree, and see test case here, a test case here, and a test case here, and a test case. So it has at least one test. Oh, it misses a test case for this requirement. Maybe that hasn't been registered yet. Okay, but I think that's because they haven't been registered yet. Let's just wait this out and see what happens. Because this is this would be another small win, right? If it has just managed to do that one thing, write a test case for every requirement we have, we are actually better off than when AI is just wandering in a random direction. And this is again one of the things that we're really trying to do here is to guide it to do disciplined engineering with a lot of precision, which means that we need to write tests, we need to plan things properly, we need to make sure that the tests then pass, and then once we're sure that they pass, first then are we delivering the product. And with this, the whole philosophy is that the better we design things up front, and the easier and the better we make it, the easier we make it for the AI to actually access this information, the higher our chances of success will be. Let's see. Now it runs the build again. This time a release build. This is one of the other really great things about using Rust for this. So the Rust compiler is super pedantic, and what that means is that it will catch a lot of errors while it's compiling things. Unfortunately, it also means that it's super slow, but so much more a reason for us to just get this completely automated. So you give it a request, you do your design documents, you give it a request, and then it can use these tools to make sure it delivers a pretty solid piece of work. And you saw what it already delivered here. Like, obviously, we can do more about the designs. There was mistakes in it, but overall, it got the concept. We got something done, and for a first version of the app, this is not bad. And I think the Rust compiler has helped a lot in this, in making sure that we don't get a lot of tedious bugs that we would otherwise have, whether that would be undefined behavior, as you often get in C++, or casting things to unknown or undefined in TypeScript. These kind of things you don't have to deal with. Of course, there are still possibilities of making errors, but it's so much easier to work with when you have these very strict rules that you can follow. And the thing is that LLMs have become surprisingly good at solving the problems. And also the Rust compiler gives them a lot of hints on how to actually fix these things when something is wrong, which is another really big benefit. And we are ready now. So let's just try to take this for a second spin. Okay, and I just need to move this to another screen. So we're pulling that over here is using AI and
Hi, this is Alex from the Daily Tribune. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today. We're diving into a really fascinating topic, building an oasis using AI and large language models. So let me start with the first main question. Could you explain a little about what inspired you to use AI and language models to create what you call an oasis?
right. So maybe we should clarify first what the Oasis is. So the Oasis is a place from Ready Player
Ah, got
One.
it. Please
Oh,
go
it
ahead
still
and
interrupts
clarify
me.
what
How
you mean
annoying.
by the oasis, just so we're on the same page before you dive deeper. So
You
it's essentially a space or a community you're building, right? And it's designed to be a kind of safe, nurturing environment, but with AI and language models playing a big role in how it operates. Did I get that right?
No, not at all. So the Oasis is the place from Ready Player One, and that's what we are trying to build. A massive multiplayer online game.
Ah, I see. You're aiming to build a real life version of that fictional virtual world from Ready Player One. That's super interesting. So, my next question would be, how exactly does AI and language modeling help in creating that kind of immersive virtual world?
So we're using AI to actually writing all of the code for this. And I think that the question count on this doesn't work, does it? What question are we at?
We're at question 2 right now. And no worries, I've got the count covered. So, you're using AI to write the code for the project. That's pretty cutting edge. Could you share a bit about how that works in practice? Are you using AI to generate the world, the narratives, or the actual game mechanics?
Everything. So I'm using it to generate the voice interface for the NPC. I'm using it to generate the world. I'm using it to play around with different concepts. And let's just see how long I can keep on talking here before I get interrupted by you. I'm very curious because last time you interrupted me in the middle of a sentence, but it seems like this time you're giving me the room to actually answer. Maybe there is just a delay that we need to adjust slightly. Not entirely sure. But anyway, so we're using AI to develop all of this code, and the hope is that we are hitting the singularity this year such that we can just get everything done by itself without that we have to do anything more. It seems like there's still a little bit of way to go. Did you get all that?
Yes, I got all of that.
Wow.
Sounds like you're leveraging AI for almost every aspect, from generating the world to designing the NPC interactions and concepts. That's a massive undertaking. So, question number 3. What's been the biggest challenge so far in using AI for such a complex world building project?
I think that the biggest problem or biggest challenge, actually the biggest growth opportunity, has been that AI isn't quite ready to do these things yet. So many of the tools that we have today cannot do the things that we can do if we are more structured about it. And this is what the ACE framework is all about. So we've built out this framework that helps guide AI through the process of building solid software in a way that context is available for the things that it should be doing, and it can be put together quickly and very accurately.
Got it. So you've had to create a framework to kind of guide the AI toward more structured development because the current tools can't fully handle something this intricate on their own yet. That makes a lot of sense. Now, for question 4, what's your vision for how players will engage with this AI-driven world? Are you aiming for something more like a collaborative social space or an adventure-driven kind of game?
No, I mean, the vision here is that this should be exactly like Ready Player One. Like you put on a headset, you log in, there are NPCs, there are other players, you should be able to build stuff, there should be PvP zones, there should be everything. Like this is a massive project. And this is exactly why it's a great project to test with the current version of AI to see if the singularity is actually there.
That's incredibly ambitious, and it sounds like you're really pushing the limits of what AI can handle right now. All right, final question. What's your timeline for this project? Are you thinking this is something that'll evolve over the next few years, or are you hoping to have a version up and running sooner rather than later?
It would be great to have it up running sooner rather than later. But really, I think the key thing here is that it will be ready whenever AI is ready to write it, because I'm not going to write it. I have other things to do. So if we could get AI to write it with about an hour of commitment per day, then that's great. Hopefully, we'll have this in a year, but maybe not. Who knows?
Got it. So the timeline really hinges on how quickly AI evolves to handle the workload. You're basically on AI's schedule, so to speak. Well, that wraps up my main questions. Thanks so much for sharing all of this. It's been fascinating to hear about your approach and vision. Thank you for participating. It's been a pleasure.
Are you still there?
I'm here. We've wrapped up the main interview questions, but if there's anything else you'd like to add, I'm happy to hear it.
No, I think this is cool. I think that we've shown that the basic concept is actually working here. And I'm pretty happy with this. I'm a bit annoyed about the question counter, and I'm also a bit annoyed that the program doesn't stop by itself. But these really feels like minor things.
I appreciate the feedback and glad to hear you're happy with how the overall concept is coming together. Thanks again for the great conversation.
Thank you too. Okay, I think this wraps it up for today's live stream. I'm really happy. I think we've come a long way in a very short time. So if you look at what we actually managed to do, we have now an AI that can talk to us, and it's kind of respects our talking time. Like I managed to do a really long segment where I just kept on talking. There is some things that needs to be tuned around when it actually starts talking to you and not. It does seem like we have some excuse me. I'm just dying here. It does seem like we have some minor issues that we need to address on that, but still, like this is decent. I am overall pretty happy. So if you like to hear more about this, follow or subscribe. And if you really want to get to the next level, join Compound Coders and learn about the ACE framework and the other tools. You'll get access to these tools as they become ready. And right now we are running things at a discounted price because I'm still building out the course. I'm still building out everything. So I think this is a great time to join. See you next time.